Traveling to Morocco is the polar opposite of undescribable, but the experience is one you have to live for yourself. A trip to Morocco is to immerse yourself in this country of sounds and colors and bustling souks, but with stark contrasts of complete serenity. Morocco is a kaleidescope of artisans and performers, amazing food, and above all, a historic and rich culture. I hope in this Morocco travel vlog I'm able to show you just a glimpse of what this spectacular country is like. In April of this year, I had the wonderful opportunity to travel to Morocco with 6 amazing women. During our epic girls trip to Morocco, we visited Casablanca, Fez, and Marrakech. We didn't make it to the Sahara Desert on this trip, unfortunately, but I have been to the Sahara twice before, when I went on another girls trip to Morocco in 2018, and then in the beginning of 2020 for a girlfriend's birthday. Visiting the Sahara Desert was truly one of the most magical experiences of my life, and I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this Morocco travel blog, so be sure to stick around. What's really cool about this particular trip to Morocco is that for me, it's my 3rd time visiting this incredible country, and this particular trip is a trip that I have planned for some of my clients. If you didn't know, I am a full-time luxury travel advisor, and what that means is I plan custom, bespoke itineraries for clients all over the world. This trip was partnered with Teak and Experience Morocco to allow me to get to do and see so much. Not just experiences and visit the cities, but also hotel site visits and luxury stays that I get to look over and basically vouch for when my clients go to stay there. If you're looking for help planning your next trip, you can submit an inquiry, which you'll find in the description of this video. You'll also find relevant blog posts from my website about Morocco. And now, let's talk about Morocco. So after everyone arrived at Casablanca, we made our way down to Fez. Casablanca is a great place to fly into, but it's not that great of a city except for just sort of the few main things. So we flew into there because there are direct flights into Casablanca from New York, and that's what most of the girls flew in from. I had to fly in from Spain though, so I actually had more layovers than most of the people flying in because there are no direct flights from Palma to Marrakech or to Casablanca. Yay, go me. Anyways, so we immediately went down to Fez. Fez means a shovel because of Mul Idris hit a shovel on the ground for the first foundation of the city. If you see it's Fez spelled with a Z, that is the French spelling because in French a Fez with an S means butt. The trade and skills involved in pottery making used to be top secret, and this was one of the first destinations we went to, was a pottery studio. So the richest family in Fez were making these ceramics. The current family has owned the shop for 3 generations, and tile making has been going on in Fez for 700 years. All of the patterns of the tiles have different meanings. Many of them have suns at the center because the sun is the center of the universe. You'll also see things like the hand of God, which protect from the evil eye. After our visit to the pottery shop, we went on a walking tour of the Fez Medina. In the heart of the Medina lies the river Fez that splits the city into 2 parts. The river was used to send aqueducts to the palaces, so it had running water underground, and it did so naturally. There are several quarters within the Medina and Fez, the Andalusia and Carawine quarter. There are walls that were built and broken down, and there is a wall all around the city. There's also the Safarine, which is the copper quarter. Fez itself is split into 3 parts. Fez El Bali, which is the old walled city, which dates from the 8th century. There's also Fez Jadid, which is New Fez, known as the Jewish quarter, which dates from the 13th century. And then New Town, which is French created, and the newest section of Fez, which dates from the 20th century. Fez is distinctly known for its leather. In the heart of the Fez Medina lies the largest tannery in Africa. There is a long process to get the leather made in the Medina. It is first put into limestone to remove the skin from the wool, and that takes about 4 days. The removed wool is then used to fill the poofs, which the eventual tan leather creates. But first, before we get there, the leather is then put into a second pot, which is filled with pigeon poop for 15 days. And yes, I said pigeon poop. When you visit the tannery, just be aware of this because it's pigeon poop and it smells horrific. The locals call the scent caca Chanel. All of the Medinas in Morocco contain a mosque. From the 8th to 12th century, the mosque was the center of everything. It was the university and a meeting place. It was the location of political decision. But the 13th century took from the mosque everything except religion. A Medina must also have a square that is a public space. This square sets the designs of the Medina. Every quarter within the Medina is called a derb, and all of the plazas have to have a public fountain. In a quarter, there must be a baker, a mosque oriented to Mecca, just a small one, and a hammam with 3 rooms. All of the quarters together make up a Medina, and each has to be independent from another quarter. After Fez, we took a flight to Marrakech, and while we were on the flight to Marrakech, our luggage was driven to Marrakech, so we did not have to worry about boarding all of that stuff on the plane, which was amazing. The walls of Marrakech are from the top of the 11th century. Kutubiyya is the name of the big main mosque in Marrakech. This translates to the area where we buy and sell books. Kutubiyya is the largest building and tower in Marrakech. It's 77 meters high, and according to our tour guide in Morocco, the call to prayer you hear coming from the mosque is never a tape. The name Marrakech has 2 meanings. The Berber meaning is land of God, the words Ammar and Kush put together. In Arabic, Merkush means to go fast. Land of God is the main explanation the locals go by. Our adventure in Marrakech began with a traditional cooking class. The class kicked off with a Moroccan mint tea demonstration, of course. In Morocco, you're going to have lots and lots and lots of mint tea. We then learned how to cook with tagine and make traditional Moroccan salads. That evening after a cooking class, we went to Jemalefna to experience the Marrakech night market. This is one of my all-time favorite experiences in Morocco, made even more special because of Ramadan. During Ramadan, many shops are closed during the day and the Moroccan people are fasting. But after the sun goes down, they break their fast, and the night market, which does happen all year round, comes to life. There is dancing, singing, food, laughter, and so much more happening at the Jemalefna night market. It's something you must experience for yourself. After a quick time in the Medina, it was time to escape the hustle and bustle of Marrakech and head into the Atlas Mountains. Did you know that there are 2 ski resorts in Morocco? One of the most common places to go hiking is just a short drive from Marrakech and is the Emlil Valley, which is immensely picturesque and not at all what you would expect from Morocco. I highly recommend going on a guided expedition with a tour from Marrakech and doing an Atlas Mountain Emlil Valley hike with a traditional Berber family visit. We did this and had the most incredible time with the Berber family. They made us homemade almond butter, homemade honey, and homemade butter. They also made us tanwort, which is a special bread made in a stone oven, tanglut, which is another type of bread, and I'm sure I am butchering these pronunciations. They also made us mint tea, as is the Moroccan way, and it was truly a wonderful experience. After our hike back down, we then went to Sir Richard Branson's resort, Casbah Tamado, for lunch. If you're looking for an oasis in the wilderness, this is it. Our final day in Morocco, we spent the morning going to the Hamam, which is very similar to a Turkish bath. Basically, you strip down and go into a steam room naked, and then a lady comes in and scrubs you down with several different body oils and clays and removes all of the dead skin from your body. It sounds weird, but if you ever get the chance to experience a Hamam, you should take it. This final day, I also partook in Ramadan and fasted from sunup to sundown, as that evening we were planning on having a traditional break-fast meal in the evening at Royal Mansour. When I was finally able to eat and drink, it was so fulfilling, as I was so happy to be a part of the Moroccan culture in this way. Even if I only did Ramadan for a day, it was such a unique and cultural experience, and one that I will never forget. Our fast was first broken with milk, dates, and orange juice. Then came lots and lots of more food. Basically anything you could think of to put on the table was there. After that, it was time to leave Morocco. But before I wrap up this Morocco travel vlog, I want to talk to you about the Sahara Desert. You can take a Sahara Desert tour from either Fez or Marrakech. There are two main dunes, or ergs, that tourists typically visit, Erg Chebi and Erg Chigaga. You pretty much have to visit the desert with a guide. It is possible to drive from Marrakech to Merzouga and then take a tour from there, but I definitely do not recommend it. When I went to the Sahara in 2018, there was flash flooding on the roads, and we were only able to get home from the desert because our guide, Idris, was a complete badass and had a submergible car. Anyways, all that to say, you should take a guided tour, and I'll link the tours that I recommend in the description below. It's about an 8 to 12 hour drive to get to the desert no matter where you leave from, but there is a lot to see on the way, and your guide will be an expert at breaking it up and taking you to tour places like the Dades Gorge and Ben et Hadou, which, by the way, is a Game of Thrones filming location. Once you get to the desert, you will likely do an overnight stay in Merzouga before riding your camels into the desert at sunset. Your luxury camp will host your dinner, and there will be a campfire and singing and sharing of stories afterwards, and the memories of this night will live with you forever. Pro tip, I highly recommend bringing your own wine with you, as not many camps will have some available, and if you're feeling friendly, I do recommend that you bring a couple extra bottles, as this is how we made friends with some of the other people in the camp. We were up all night watching the stars, riding boards down the sand dunes, and learning about the way of life of the nomadic desert tribes. Then we were up in the morning to watch the sun rise over the Sahara and ride our camels back into town. My butt was definitely a little sore post-camel ride. They're not the most comfortable creatures to ride, and it's definitely a bit awkward mounting them. But if you are on the fence about making a trip to the Sahara Desert, let me help you out here. Do it. 1000% do it. It will be an experience that you will never forget in your entire lifetime to come. I hope you guys liked this Morocco travel blog. Please hit me up with any questions you may have in the comments section, and if you need help planning your next trip, you can submit an inquiry via the link in the description, or find me on Instagram at Sydney_Zaruba, or send an email to Sydney@exploratourtravel.com. That is Sydney at Explorateur, EXPLORATEUR travel.com. Keep it groovy, squid.